Hey there, how's everyone doing? We're really happy to have people tuning in from all around the world. If you're new here, welcome to the family. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe. Yemen declares war and warns foreign investors in Israel. Yemen has just sounded the alarm for war. The Yemeni armed forces and the Ansar Allah movement are calling on all foreign investors working in Israel to leave immediately. Get out of Tel Aviv and Israel while there's still time.
That's the message they've put out loud and clear, stressing the urgency for all foreign nationals to evacuate, because Yemen's ballistic missiles and warhead-equipped rockets are on the way, and they won't be able to distinguish between Israeli citizens, who are already rushing into shelters and hiding places, and foreign investors. Yemen has announced it's enforcing an air and sea blockade on Israel, including Tel Aviv and all the occupied Palestinian territories.
Just yesterday, there was a significant military operation by the Yemeni armed forces that shows their commitment to standing with the Palestinian people, especially those in Gaza. They launched a ballistic missile targeting Ben Gurion Airport, and 3 drones hit key locations inside Israel: Ashdod, Jaffa, and Eilat, along with the airport itself. This is the first time that the Yemeni armed forces, since showing support for Palestine and Gaza, have addressed a message specifically to foreign investors. That says a lot. It's a strong psychological and media-driven move, targeting Israel's economy and aiming to drain both foreign and domestic investment. The Yemeni military is making it clear, no one in Israel is safe, not even in bunkers or shelters, or...
The footage speaks volumes. You see millions of people running, not out of loyalty to Israel, but just trying to save their own lives. It's less about a Jewish state and more about survival at this point. The images and footage coming out constantly highlight how the Houthis, Ansar Allah, and the Yemeni armed forces are firmly standing with the Palestinian cause. That's undeniable.
The UK begs Yemen for aircraft carrier passage. Now here's another major development. The British government officially contacted Ansar Allah to request permission for one of their aircraft carriers, the HMS, to pass through the Red Sea safely. This is unprecedented. Think about it. Britain, the former empire where the sun never sets, is now asking Yemen, asking the Houthis, not to fire ballistic missiles or target anything while their ship passes.
In response, the Yemeni military agreed, but only because the British clarified that the ship wasn't headed for any military action or to support Israel in any way. They just wanted safe passage. Yemen accepted the request and let the ship through peacefully. Why did the British feel the need to ask permission? Simple. They saw what happened to the U.S. aircraft carrier, the USS Gerald R. Ford, one of the most powerful in the world, which had to flee after being targeted by Yemeni missiles. That attack even led to the downing of 2 F-18 fighter jets, so yeah, the British didn't want to take that risk. They knocked on Yemen's door, figuratively speaking, and asked politely to pass without trouble, and Yemen let them. That shows just how much control the Yemeni forces now have over the Red Sea. Whether it's British ships or American ones, they're calling the shots now.
Now let's talk about another huge story. The warming relations between Egypt and Iran, which has seriously upset Gulf countries like Saudi Arabia, the UAE, and Qatar. These Gulf states worry that closer Egypt-Iran ties could harm their interests.
Historically, Egypt and Iran have had rocky relations ever since the assassination of President Sadat, and there's been no formal diplomatic representation between them for decades. Iran just has an interest section in Cairo, not an actual embassy.
But now, Egypt's President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi has welcomed Iran's foreign minister, and while the official statement talks about resolving the Gaza crisis, cooperation in the Red Sea, and regional stability, there's clearly more going on behind the scenes.
Gulf media outlets, especially those close to Saudi Arabia and the UAE, have expressed concern and even frustration about this development. Why? Because both Iran and Egypt are major regional powers. If they start getting closer, politically, diplomatically, or even economically, it could reduce the strategic importance of the Gulf states.
Egypt has always considered the security of the Gulf a red line, but this new rapprochement might shift that balance, especially if we start seeing embassies being opened and high-level cooperation between Egypt and Iran. That would be a game changer.
At the end of the day, every country is looking out for its own interests. The Gulf states have done it, whether it's Trump visiting Saudi, UAE, or Qatar. And now Egypt is doing the same, especially since Iran is in the middle of a serious crisis. Iran is under pressure after a report from the International Atomic Energy Agency stated that as of May 17th, Iran has enriched uranium up to 60%, dangerously close to the 90% needed for a nuclear bomb. Iran didn't take that lightly. They condemned the report and warned that continuing sanctions and failed negotiations with the U.S. could lead to serious consequences.
Now, Iran's foreign minister is touring the region, meeting leaders in Saudi Arabia, Qatar, the UAE, and now Egypt, trying to rally support for a diplomatic solution. Iran wants to avoid military conflict over its nuclear facilities and is seeking allies who will push for lifting the sanctions.
So we're at a critical crossroads. Egypt is trying to balance its interests. Iran is trying to avoid war, and the Gulf countries are worried about being sidelined. It's a tough time for the region, and honestly for the world, especially now that Iran is reportedly preparing to install Russian S-300 air defense systems to protect its skies from any U.S., Israeli, or even